Well, you have now watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, one of the great road movies, I think, of all time. It's a genre, right, where oftentimes coupled with a buddy movie, but not always, where um, folks head out and experience the world and have great little anecdotes to share and funny things happen along the way. It's a great genre. It's an American genre usually because you usually load up in a car and the open road, which is kind of an American story. But I want to suggest that you know what a road movie wants to do when you see what home means at the end. And the final scene of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I think, gives us the peek behind the curtain, tells us this is what this movie has been about the whole time. And it's one of the scenes which I think takes a, an interesting genre and actually makes it a really profound movie, even with all the great jokes and the sight gags and burnt cars and crazy characters they've met along the way. All of that is legit, and then in this final scene kind of raises it to the next level and shows us what kind of movie we've really been watching this whole time. So I think we'll play that last scene. I'll kind of bump around. We won't be able to watch the whole last scene, but let's see how John Hughes characterizes home.
Yeah.
It's been great meeting you, Neil. It really has. Again, I'm sorry if I caused you any trouble.
Oh, no, you didn't cause me any trouble. You got me home. And a little late.
Couple days.
But I'm a little wiser, too. So,
Me too.
happy holidays.
Same. Happy Thanksgiving, Neil.
Okay.
Give my love to the family, will you?
Same to you.
Maybe I'll get a chance to meet him one day.
Okay. Say hello to Marie for me. Feel like I know her.
Yeah.
So. Okay. And you have a happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, you know it.
So long.
So he gets in the train and he begins thinking about both home and then reminiscing over these last few days. Coming home for Thanksgiving.
Glistening turkey.
Yeah.
I like me. My wife likes me.
At the very least, the absolute minimum. The kind of woman you love to grow old with.
Right.
I've been spending too much time away from home. I haven't been home for years. I haven't been home for years. I haven't been home for years. Dell, what are you doing here? You said you were going home. What are you doing here?
I don't have a home. Marie's been dead for 8 years.
Look at the decision on Steve Martin character's face here. So we're going to cut to the end of this scene where we get to see he introduce his family.
My little Jim, Marty, and somewhere around here is my little baby boy, Seth.
I'd like you to meet a friend of mine.
Mr. Griffith.
Hello, Mrs. Page.
And that's the end. Cut to John Candy remembering Barbary, those great moments of times with his own wife and seeing it played out in front of him with a new good friend. So
80s were good years. Okay.
that music is so wonderfully 80s, and there's a lot of markers of the 80s in this movie, but I have to say that this theme of returning home is
Returning home to the 80s.
Returning
I'm
home
there.
to the 80s.
I'm
Are
there.
you there? You know what I think the director actually thought it was really important to, maybe it was the writer, to stage that scene of decision with Ned. That's Steve Martin's character, I think. In the train station, because he bursts in and he sees essentially what Del Griffith's life has been, which is basically in exile, just one train station after another and no final home. Yeah. And I love that look on Ned's eyes when he says he sees suddenly how what a state of exile Del has been in this whole time. He didn't even see it. And then he sees it, and then he decides, this guy needs a home. Mm-hmm. And it's such a beautiful look of decision. And then he gets invited into that warm embrace of the family. Mm-hmm. And it's such a beautiful picture of what it looks like to both have a home, but then more importantly, invite people into that home who have long been outside. And in that sense, it's just the pitch perfect metaphor for the gospel that's always wanting to scoop people in and bring them in on this, especially the vulnerable, especially the those who have been marginalized for one reason or another. And in this movie, it's because he is just so annoying and irritating. Mm-hmm. In some ways, I think those are the hardest people to bring home.
For sure.
It's neat, and we can feel romantic about inviting people home who are grateful and nice and generous, but for people who don't stop talking, mm-hmm. like these people, the most irritating people, mm-hmm. You just think, well, whatever I'm going to do, I'm not bringing them into this house. But that's exactly what Ned does. Mm-hmm. I love it. Tell us about the movie, the wine. What are you thinking about?
Yeah, what am I thinking about? Well, I chose the C word, Pinotage, because I wanted to kind of wake up our taste buds a little bit, where a lot of us probably drink Merlot, Pinot Noir, Cabernet, Sauvignon Blanc, and Chardonnay a lot, maybe. And I thought, let's do something really different, because this movie, I think, is doing something really different. We're not quite sure what we're looking at. I think Ned is thinking, who is this character, Dale Griffith? Is he here to destroy me or to deliver me? And so I wanted you to have that first smell of a wine that would sort of confuse your senses a little bit. What am I smelling? Am I smelling something jammy and delicious? Am I smelling something earthy and smoky and funky? And what is this? That's what I wanted you to experience. This particular wine was made in South Africa, which has made a comeback in recent years in their wine production. Really exciting things going on in South Africa. And I encourage you to go try kind of their specialty, Chenin Blanc. Take that in, give that a try. It's amazing quality.
Spell Chenin?
Chenin Blanc, Chenin.
Okay.
Blanc. But this wine, Pinotage, is it's got that smoke. It's got, when you first smell it, you're like, what is this? Is this Dale Griffith's underwear? What am I smelling? And
in the sink when he pulls them up?
Yeah. But the taste, I think, was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think the point I want to make about this place where it's grown in South Africa is that you have the cold current of the Atlantic Ocean pushing up, and then there's this bay that's warm, temperate, called False Bay. And so you have these two kind of clashing climates that really produce interesting complexity in the wines there. And I thought, well, that's really fitting because you have these two characters that are really clashing in life and really producing something fruitful and interesting in each other's lives. So I hope you enjoyed it. I thought it was delicious. I don't know, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, at first I did think, "Ooh, this is some serious funk here," but because you suggested it and told me that you thought it would be good, I sort of went ahead and stuck with it, and I was like, "Wait a second, this is really yummy."
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and not a bad symbol for the invitation of the strange into our lives, right? The stranger. Well, thanks for watching the movie. Thanks for jumping in on this clip with us. And we are going to shift gears yet again for next week. We've got a really cool wine and a really lovely movie that I hope the two of you, or at least one of you, can watch. It's going to be a real treat. See you next week.